By detailing the Coopers' family life, young Sheldon guaranteed a focus on the family patriarch George, who was ill-treated in the parent series The Big Bang Theory but frequently shone brightly in young Sheldon. Sheldon's peculiarities were already a source of problems or misunderstandings in The Big Bang Theory, but young Sheldon showing a young version of the socially inept genius ensured it would be easier to empathize with Sheldon's struggles for viewers and characters alike. Indeed, despite Sheldon's bluntness, all those close to him showed him kindness, trying to help him navigate high school, with George often offering support. Sheldon and Mary didn't spare George Sr. any kindness when talking about him in The Big Bang Theory, with the two either describing him as good-for-nothing or attributing some of the most offensive comments to him. George's portrayal in young Sheldon entirely contradicts the character description Mary and Sheldon gave in Big Bang Theory, and his decency filtered through George's every interaction in young Sheldon, with his good intentions highlighted even when his delivery misfired. Whether with family friends or parenting his and Mary's children, some of George's best moments in young Sheldon let all shine through his good character. George's inability to connect with Sheldon is a major theme in young Sheldon Season 1, because of their different interests and divergent approach in exploring them. While young Sheldon Season 1 includes various moments of connection between the young genius and the Cooper patriarch, the first time George can be seen standing up for Sheldon is against NASA engineer Dr. Hodges in young Sheldon Season 1, Episode 6. Dr. Hodges dismissing Sheldon's idea to let rockets land instead of having them crash greatly affects Sheldon, pushing him to prove Hodges wrong, but also giving him an ulcer in the process. Bringing the entire family over to Houston so that Sheldon's ideas could be heard proves George's belief in Sheldon and willingness to do what his son needed even if he didn't understand why, showing George listened to Sheldon's wishes when it would have been easier to dismiss them. The sweet moment in a patch, a modem, and a Zantac lets George's best intentions when parenting Sheldon shine through, proving him able to advocate for Sheldon even when he cannot understand Sheldon nor the reason why he is so consumed by his interaction with Hodges. Sheldon and Mary's harsh TBBT jokes about George also contrast with another moment in young Sheldon Season 1 that Mary may have prompted, but was handled the best way because of George's insight into Sheldon. Young Sheldon Season 1, Episode 8, Cape Canaveral, Schrodinger's cat, and Cindy Lauper's hair, sees George bring Georgie and Sheldon away for a boys' weekend unlike any before, as Sheldon's idea gets chosen for once so that George and Sheldon can bond over the latter's interests. Always having wanted to see a rocket launch in real life, Sheldon is super excited by the weekend away. George never lets Sheldon lose hope in young Sheldon Season 1, Episode 8, despite the pouring rain. When it's clear that the storm will impede the rocket launch that day, George cheers Sheldon up by asking him about thunders and lightning, knowing Sheldon likes to talk about science. George's knowledge of his son refocuses Sheldon's attention away from what upset him, even bringing older Sheldon to deem that as the best trip he ever had, proving one of the sweetest things George could do for Sheldon, putting him at ease and making him happy thanks to how much he knew him. George Cooper Sr., portrayed by Lance Barber in young Sheldon, is a complex character who often takes the back seat in a world that seems more focused on Sheldon's genius, Mary's devotion, and the various eccentricities of the Cooper family. However, George's moments of humor, warmth, and insight into fatherhood make him an unforgettable character. In a show that captures the quirks of family life, George Cooper Sr. stands as an anchor, a father, husband, and coach with a heart full of contradictions, often torn between trying to provide for his family and his own unique brand of fatherly wisdom. Here's a look back at George Cooper Sr.'s 10 best moments in young Sheldon, showcasing his charm, vulnerability, and undeniable humanity. One of George's stand-up moments comes early in the series when he gives his son Sheldon a heartfelt yet comical speech about the value of hard work and fitting in. After Sheldon reveals that he doesn't understand why people don't appreciate the importance of being smart, George imparts his blue-collar wisdom. You're not going to make friends by being the smartest person in the room. It's a simple but profound lesson for Sheldon, who often feels like an outsider in his own family. George, despite his rough exterior, shows an understanding of human nature and offers Sheldon the kind of practical life advice he will later come to appreciate. This moment encapsulates George's struggle between being a loving father and trying to teach his son about the real world, where intelligence often takes a backseat to social dynamics. As Sheldon navigates the trials of puberty and the emotional turmoil that comes with it, George steps up in a surprisingly tender moment. In this episode, George has a heartfelt father-son talk with Sheldon about relationships and what it means to be a man. Despite his discomfort in navigating emotional territory, George manages to offer Sheldon sound advice, even if it's laced with awkward humor. This scene reveals a side of George that isn't just the tough coach and father, it also highlights his vulnerability. He's trying his best to be there for Sheldon in a way that his father never was for him. George's comedic timing is truly on display during this episode. When Sheldon gets the idea that he needs a secret to share with his father, George is skeptical. What starts as a simple exchange between father and son quickly escalates into a hilarious moment when George tries to get Sheldon to reveal his secret by sitting on an old chair in the garage, which he dubs the throne of secrets. His reaction to Sheldon's seemingly trivial admissions, like "I know that Santa Claus isn't real," is priceless. It's a wonderful mix of humor and family dynamics. It's moments like these that highlight George's ability to blend his tough exterior with the sensitivity required to deal with a child as eccentric as Sheldon. In one of George's more relatable moments, he attempts to host a family barbecue, and of course things don't go according to plan. The propane tank runs out, the meat is undercooked, and the entire situation devolves into a mess. However, George, ever the optimist, refuses to let it ruin the day. His dedication to making the best of a bad situation becomes a moment of humor and heart. His willingness to put on a happy face for his family, even when things go wrong, shows his resilience and love for them. This episode reminds the audience that George, despite his gruff nature, will always do his best for his family, even if his idea of best doesn't always meet the ideal standard. As a high school football coach, George often finds himself trying to navigate the absurdity of the world around him. In this episode, he's asked to discipline his star player, who is also a friend of Sheldon's. The way George manages the situation, walking the tightrope between professional responsibility and personal friendship, is a testament to his character. When George talks to the troubled player, he manages to give tough but fair advice, encouraging the young man to work harder and make better choices without pushing him too hard. His ability to navigate both authority and mentorship shows a softer, more nurturing side of his personality. In a hilariously relatable moment, George tries his hand at making a grilled cheese sandwich. What seems like a simple task quickly turns into a comedic disaster when he burns the bread and attempts to salvage the meal by throwing in some extra cheese. The result is a bizarre mess, but his effort is endearing. This moment captures George's role as the well-meaning but often clueless father. He may not always get things right, but he always tries his best, often with a good sense of humor about his own mistakes. George's apology to his wife, Mary, is one of the most poignant moments in the series. After a series of misunderstandings and arguments, George recognizes the importance of admitting when he's wrong. He's not great with words, but the sincerity in his apology shows how much he cares about his marriage and the well-being of his family. This scene is significant because it highlights George's growth as a husband. Despite his flaws, he's willing to own up to his mistakes and work toward being a better partner. His willingness to apologize and make amends is a moment of maturity that doesn't come easily to his character. When Sheldon faces a challenge with his intellectual peers, George steps in with the kind of support Sheldon needs most. Though he doesn't fully understand Sheldon's academic pursuits, George is unafraid to show his pride in his son's abilities. In this episode, George reassures Sheldon that being different doesn't make him any less special. His simple yet impactful words provide a sense of comfort to Sheldon, who often feels isolated in his own world of science and intellect.